Did you give us a pick six? Are
I
you
was not sent an email.
No?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna tell you what it is beforehand, so you can think about it while Woody and I are getting this out.
Surely.
Name the top 6 Broncos this year.
Okay.
All right. The top 6 Broncos.
Oh, all 6. Yeah.
All 6.
6-1.
Okay, so I'm first. Am I always first now? Is that the deal? I mean, I don't care. I'm just wondering. So I don't have to keep asking every day. Am I first?
You look at the teleprompter. You're a teleprompter guy. You spent your whole life looking at it says less.
Well, it wasn't up. That's why I asked.
Well, okay.
It just came up. All right, so my top 6 Broncos this year. They are doing a fantastic job on run defense. Sylvester Williams is living up to that first-round pick, and I think Sylvester Williams is my 6th best Bronco of the year so far. Brandon Marshall leads this team in tackles. He's been all over the field. He's made some key plays at the end of games. Brandon Marshall is my number 5. Number 4 is Peyton Manning. They don't win 2 of the last 3 games without Peyton Manning doing his Peyton Manning thing. Number 3 is the guy who's spent all year long in the other team's backfield. DeMarcus Ware is setting the tone almost every game for this team. He's also one of the league leaders in sacks. Number 2, Aqib Talib. Just doing a fantastic job. Showed us again why, going one-on-one with Calvin Johnson. And I won't say he won that war, but he marginalized Calvin Johnson last week against Detroit. And my number one most important Bronco, my number 1 best Bronco this year, I'm going with the defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips. Every time I hear an interview of a Broncos defensive player, they say the same thing. Wade is letting us do what we need to do. He's giving us freedom, and his creativity, he's liberated them, and they're the best defense in the league right now.
In lieu of answering the 6, do you agree with his pick that Wade Phillips has been the most important Bronco?
I cannot think of a person this year for the Broncos, player or coach, who has had a bigger impact. So yes, I agree.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is?
Do players just love playing for him because he lets them have that kind of, I have faith in you. I'm going to put you out there one-on-one. I'm going to let you blitz. Is that what a player's coach? We always hear that term, right. Player's coach. John Fox was supposedly a player's coach. Is this like the ultimate, having a guy like that coach you as a defensive player?
It really is. It really is, because when you have a conservative coach like Jack Del Rio, basically what he's saying is, I don't trust you to make the plays, so we're going to be very conservative and try to let the defense make the plays.
He handcuffs you.
Yes, that's a great word for it. Whereas Wade Phillips lets guys go out and make plays. Hey, we're going to pressure the quarterback, which means cornerbacks, you got to be able to hold up for 3 seconds. We got some great rushers, but occasionally they're not going to get there. And if they don't get there, I need you to do your job back there. So every player likes to be challenged. Every player wants to prove themselves game in and game out. So a coach who does that for you, but makes it fun and makes you believe that he's completely confident in you, you want to play for that guy.
Who was your best coordinator?
Who
was like that?
2-minute warning.
I love Dick LeBeau because he was very, very much the same way. We're going to get after the quarterback. We're going to put you in sometimes in some less than advantageous situations, but I believe in you. You can get this done.
Well, then why in the world would they say, Dick, you're a Hall of Famer. As a player, you're a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. Goodbye.
Because Keith Butler has been defensive coordinator in waiting since my last year in Pittsburgh in 2006. They've elevated Keith Butler to, from linebacker coach to assistant head coach. There was no place for him to go except to go to another team at the risk of losing him, who's been learning that defense and that style of play from Dick LeBeau. They had to let Dick go so they could keep Keith Butler around.
Okay. That was better than him naming names. Name the 6, my 6. Brandon Marshall. Until he tried to lateral the ball on Sunday, I thought Brandon was having a great. Oh, that's a different Brandon Marshall. I think, what's interesting about Brandon Marshall, in a sentence? He now has his own name. Mm-hmm. People know him in the league. He's no longer the other Brandon Marshall. He is a Brandon Marshall. I like that about him. Bradley Roby has made a play in every game. Now, he's not making every play because he's on the field like one play in a period of 3 downs. But boy, is he doing a lot with the limited time that he's playing. If you look at the Baltimore game, he claimed to me, and still claims every time I see him, he tipped the ball that won the game for them. Next play is where the interception occurred. He makes a great interception. The other night he makes an interception. He's He was a great first round. I think he was the best defensive back chosen in the first round, and they had like 4 or 5 guys chosen. Number 4 is Aqib Talib. Solid. The guy, I mean, how many guys do you know that are just the cornerbacks that actually work hard enough to block an extra point? I mean, what's he even doing in there? You play, most starters have to play, I'm sure you did, one special teams. They ask you to do that. He's had a great year. It's hard to believe that Peyton Manning is not one on the, and I know what you said going in the year, and we'll have you back to talk about Peyton Manning, where he is, and that's not, I think you're right about Peyton Manning before the year, but here's where you're wrong, and we don't have enough time to, he still has it here. That's what he has left, is here. He doesn't have much else, but he's got it here. And that's why I thought he was going to have a good year, and I think that's why he's making whatever he can out of chicken. He's making chicken salad out of it. He's number 3. Number 2, DeMarcus Ware is having the year that Von Miller was supposed to have. And it may be that they're trying to watch, but
he's
they're
getting
putting
double
less.
teamed.
Yeah, that's what I say. They're putting more emphasis on stopping Von Miller, and DeMarcus is taking care of it. He is back to the way he was playing 5 years ago, and I think it also is arresting him enough that they can kind of get him through the season. Number 1, Manuel Sanders is just, he's continuing what he did last year. He catches it. He never drops a pass. He may have it tipped away from him, but he has not dropped. Demaryius Thomas has dropped 12 passes, as far as I know, in the 3 games. And Manuel has not dropped a pass, or he didn't get to one that was in the end zone. I think he pulled up a little bit, and the other one was overthrown. But Manuel's doing everything. Not great punt returner, but a great wide receiver.
All right, you want to?
Yeah. So in no particular order, because I didn't have a chance to do this. So
That's
I'll go definitely Wade Phillips, as we talked about. I will completely agree with you for Emmanuel Sanders, the most consistent guy on this offense. If he wasn't on this offense,
they'd be 0-3.
They would most likely
I
be.
felt bad leaving defensive players off my list.
Right.
They're playing so well on defense. That's why I didn't have Emmanuel.
But without him, I think he is the MVP of the offensive side of the ball in the first 3 games for the Broncos. And they most likely would be 0-3 without him. I will go with Von Miller over DeMarcus Ware, because he's not showing up in his stat sheet, but he is what is allowing Malik Jackson, allowing DeMarcus Ware to get the one-on-ones, his consistent pressure, and his consistent need to be double-teamed. I'll go with Aqib Talib over Chris Harris, typically because he takes the number 1 receiver, and you can't have great pressure on the quarterback without good coverage back on the back end. I'll go with Peyton Manning, adapting and being reluctantly adapting to this new system, but still
they've adapted to him. You know that in that game that was not Gary Kubiak's offense. They're back now to Peyton Manning's.
Okay, well I think it's a 2-way street. But I will give it to Peyton Manning as well. So is that 4 or 5?
That's 5.
That's 5.
One more.
And one more. I'll go with Brandon Marshall, because you don't win the Chiefs game without him poking that ball out. And that deserves a spot on the list.
See, and as a linebacker, you'd appreciate, because I hit him right after the game, and I said, well, what were you thinking there? He said, I was noticing during the game he was carrying the ball loosely. And he said, and I'm kind of down there, and he said, that hit me in my mind. And I thought that was such a brilliant thought, that in that moment of play, and I'm sure you've done it before, he thought, he's been carrying the ball loosely all night. Maybe I can just punch it out. And he did.
Yep, we're done. Thanks.
Thank you.
As always.
It's great to have you here. I enjoy our discussions.
Great addition.
The
Thanks,
guy who
Chad.
played the game, the guy who has no clue. I've been